What is up, guys? Team TB with another video, and today we're going to be showcasing our Brawly list from set 7. This is one of the newer leaders, and what he does essentially, he starts off you off with Doorman of Legend, which is our main, our main card in the deck. Doorman of Legend, whenever you take damage, if it's normal or if it's critical, it doesn't matter. You get to put the top card from your deck under it, and then once you have 3 or more under it, you can place in the drop area and play any 4-drop Brawly you want, and then it comes into play. Essentially what the deck is, it's a very control heavy deck, but it does a lot during your opponent's turn. So if anyone has played Yu-Gi-Oh before, this is a cool deck because it does a lot during your opponent's turn. And it kind of builds the board during your opponent's turn. And during your turn, you're just playing very defensive. You're playing a lot of counter plays. You're defending your life. You're denying your opponent resources. It's just overall a really fun leader to play. So the leader itself, standard 10,000 power. It has critical. And it starts you off with the field spell. And then when you awaken, you untap, draw a card. And then on the awaken side, you get to draw when you swing. And then also you have the active battle of pitching a card and popping anything that's 10,000 or less power on your opponent's side of the field. Very nice. It's a really fun leader, and the leader itself, while not too impressive, it's the deck, the cards you play in the deck that make up for it. So we're going to start with their 1-drops. This is Raditz. The 1-drop, this is our Borgos for the deck. When you play him, you draw a card, and then when your opponent untaps energy during their turn, they actually have to get rid of an energy. So it punishes your opponent for, overextending or playing too aggressive. Next up, for our next 1-drop, we're playing 3 of the 1-drop Brawly. Now we run 3 because we just don't have room for the 4th one. We don't really need the 4th one. It's been doing well at 3. And when you play him, you look at the top 7 and you add any green Brawly you want from them, and then shuffle the rest into the deck. So really good to help you filter and search for cards. One of the main cards you want to be searching off of it, though, is the 2-drop Brawly. Now, this Brawly here is a multicolored Brawly, so it counts as a red and green, which is why it's searchable off the 1-drop. It's got energy exhaust, so when you charge it, it comes in rests. However, you can avoid this. If you have another multicolor in the energy, you can put it in active mode. And then also, when you play it, you make your opponent discard a card, and it's 15 power. It's nice. 9 out of 10 times you just want to charge it. Next up, for our super combo, we're running Master Roshi. This is the sparking super combo. You don't want to take damage. You want to defend, and by turn 3 you should meet the requirement for Roshi. So you're going to be on turn 3, you're going to be should be still around like 5 life, so your other super combo won't be live. So it's nice to have this one instead, because you want to be defensive, you don't want to take damage, you want to stall out the game. So this super combo makes a lot more sense. So we're running 4 of him. Now for our main package of the deck. This is what makes the deck viable, and essentially this is what makes green red such a powerful color combination. You have access to two really strong counter plays. More so, the Vegeta is more of the the big card when it comes to red green decks. Now Vegeta the Cruel, what he does is that he's a counterplay, and he's reduced by 1 if you have a multicolor in the energy. when your opponent plays something, you play him, and then you get to warp one of your opponent's battle cards, or destroy it, and then warp one of their cards, and he comes into play. It's very powerful. In the mill matchup, it's very big because they cannot tap 4 for Demon Sword. They can't tap 4 for, the AOD card, because they're just going to lose it, and they're going to lose that advantage. So very powerful. Also really good against like chain attack decks when they play the 1-drop chain attack. It's really nice to disrupt them. For Kaioken here, he does the same thing. He is a counterplay, and he is reduced by 1 if you have a multicolor in the energy. And what he does is that you can play him for 2, and then when you play him, you reduce one of your opponent's battle cards by 10. Now, if it's your turn, or if it's your opponent's turn, you get to neg an additional 5k to another battle card, or the same card you neg 10. So what you can do is that if your opponent plays like a burst attacks on Gohan and they tap 3, you can play this during your opponent's turn, and then neg 10, and then neg another 5, and then just clear that burst attack. It's really nice. Also, the other useful thing about this, if you're playing against a deck that plays a lot of 1-drops, turns 1 and 2, on their turn 2, if you have 2 energy, you can play him and neg the 1-drop they just played by 10, and the other one by 5. Most 1-drops that draw a card are 5k, so it would clear both of them. It's really nice, really helpful, and it helps you pressure during your opponent's turn. By far the biggest cards in the deck. Next up, I run 2 burst attacks on Gohan. This is a critical, and then it draws 2 when I have 4 or less. One of the bad things about this deck is that it doesn't have an impressive hand. Most games I see myself having like 6, 7 cards, maybe. Depends on how I play the game. So it's nice having a card that denies your opponent resources while it gives you resources. And then since you're counterplaying a lot during your opponent's turn, you're pressuring them and disrupting them, but you're losing hand advantage. So it's really nice to have access to this card to replenish your hand while denying your opponent's resources and giving yourself an advantage over your opponent. So really solid card. I run 2 of it for now. Might change later on. Next up, for our main Brawly, this is the Brawly that we're going to be playing 9 out of 10 times with our field spell. Now this Brawly, he gets an additional 5k during your turn, and he can attack cards inactive. So if your opponent's trying to go wide and try to do a play with a card they played last turn, you can play this card and then try to kill it. If your opponent activates a counter once per turn, they're going to take 1 damage. Now if you have multiple of these guys, this is where this card shines, because you're going to be swinging for 25, 25, 25. Your opponent's going to take it, or they're going to combo. And then sooner or later, they're going to be in a situation where they need to counter. And this is where this card comes clutch, because your opponent, let's say they're at 3, and you swing, and they really don't have, anything. They can't out-combo it, or they need to, like, if you're playing against a blue deck, they need to play Dimension Magic so they can untap 2. So it puts them from 3 to 2, which is just great because that's kill range for most decks. Not necessarily in this deck, because we really don't have that many good finishers. We only have like a handful. But still, it's nice to force your opponent to do something. Force your opponent to do something which is not activate counters. So, really good card. By far my favorite card in the entire set, honestly. Next up, the next Brawly. This is another target for Dormant of Legend. This one only in certain situations we want to play. What he does is that you can arrival him, so you need a combo with a red and green card, or you can combo with 1 red-green card. Either way works. You just need to tap one red, obviously, and you play him. When you play him, he has an auto that you can minus 10k to one of your opponent's battle cards. It's really nice because if, let's say, you're in the mirror match and they try to kill you with this, or yeah, no, not that, because let's say they're trying to kill you with this, you can minus 10 and then it becomes a 10k, and if they go all in with that card, you can just pop it with leader because it's a 10k. It doesn't matter how much combo power they have, it just dies. So really nice to have when you're defending. You want to play this essentially on your defense. You never want to play it during your turn. You never want to hard cast it. Always want to play it defensively. The other auto is that if when your opponent combos, you have a chance to pitch a card and put that card they combo with into the discard. However, they do still get autos if they combo. So let's say they combo with a super combo, you can pitch it to the discard, but they still draw a card. So we run 4 of him. And then for other 4 drops, these are just our pseudo super combos. 2 of the Cell, 2 of the Goku. They draw 1 when you combo with them. They're green and red. There's no reason not to run them. These are really good defensive cards to help you defend your life while not losing advantage. Because you're already, the leader itself is already not drawing all that much. So you need cards like this to help defend your life. Next up for our 6-drop Brawly. This also has a rival. And also the big thing about the Brawlies, the 4-drop and the 6-drop, is that you cannot play them until you have Dormant of Legend in the drop area. So do keep that in mind when you're playing a little too defensive. If you're trying to kill off your opponent or pressure your opponent with these cards, you cannot play them until you have that field spell in the drop area. And then, so this one has a rival for 1 green, 1 red. So when you combo with a red and green card, or 1 red green card, you can play him. You need to tap 1 red, 1 green, and then he has an auto when he's played. You can choose 2 of your opponent's battle cards and neg them 15k, ignoring barrier, which is huge because a lot of people like going in with barrier cards and thinking, oh, you can't do anything. And then you just play this guy and blow him out of the water. He also has the other auto where if your opponent combos, you can pitch a card and then place it in the drop area. Again, you want to play this defensively. You want to do it during your opponent's turn. That's the biggest thing about this deck. Next up, we run 1 Kaioken Son Goku. This card is just absolutely absurd. It's honestly an SCR level card, and it's just it's a damn super. It's so crazy. What he does is that when you have 20 or more green and red cards in the drop area, you get to reduce him by 2, so he becomes a 5-drop. He has an active main where you can take a life, and he would get triple strike and dual attack, and he gets plus 25. The crazy part is that he's not once per turn, so you can do this as many times as you want, as long as you have the life for it. 9 out of 10 times, you're going to be doing it like 3 times. 3 to 2 times. So you get to look at your opponent's hand, and you get to make them discard any card. So if your opponent is at like 3 life, and they have 3 negates, and you have 4 life, you can take 3 life and rip their 3 negates and just win. Like, they're not going to be able to stop it. Absolutely insane. It gets even better in this deck when you play him and then you play this guy. And that just, this 2-card combo is just absolutely absurd because it just makes the combo deadlier, because now if they do want to negate this, they have to take an additional damage unnecessarily. So very powerful. Actually going to be running 2 of the Kaioken because it's done me wonders and as a 1-of. So definitely want to play 2 of it, and against those slower decks, which you're going to be able to slow down a lot of decks because your deck is super defensive. So you will be able to play this. The only question is that can you get the 20 cards that are green and red in the drop area by then? That's the only thing. So one for him, definitely bumping him up to 2. Next up, we play one Fu. This is our Overwhelm. This is a card that I'm checking in for now. This might change to a Mira. It just depends how it works. As of right now, it's a really good like one of that's very unexpected. You do have to be careful with this card because if you do play it, you get rid of your fuel spell, and then if you do that, you won't have access to your 4 drops and your 6 drops. So you only want to use this as a game ender. You don't want to use it any other reason. So he's very cheap. You play him for 4 essentially, and then you can, don't before you do then you do that, and then you play Dormant of Legend, and then you can put in the drop area and play this guy. If you haven't done the play, it's a very specific play, but like it could honestly get you games. Next up for negates, we're running a 3-2 split. I think in this deck, this is a more appropriate ratio. Is that all you got? It's just so powerful in this deck because if your opponent's trying to go wide, which, a lot of people should if they want to beat this deck, this is a really good card to like counterplay that play style. So you pitch 1 and you neg 15 to 2 your opponent's battle cards. It gets even better when you pitch this card, and then you have 2 negates life because you can activate this from the drop area, and then by paying the energy costs and removing from game 1 card. So really nice negates, has done me wonders. The new negate has actually won me games against like Shingita. It's just they don't expect it or they just forget about it. So really nice. And then last but not least, we're running 4 of Denial Hope. New counterplay. This is like our preemptive strike. This only works on cards that are 20k or less power. So, it's not as powerful as like the green one where like it negates anything, but they have to discard 2. But still, it's a very annoying card. It doesn't get around deflect obviously, but not a lot of cards have deflect anymore. Bandai's a little bit more careful with that. So it's nice having a solemn judgment for this game. Denying your opponent a summon is just very powerful. So that's the deck, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy. I've been having a lot of fun with this deck and actually been doing really well with it lately. It's still being tested. It obviously can still be improved. I'm still finding new ways to make it more viable, and it's a deck that I might consider playing for a bigger scale tournament. Right now I'm just playing it for locals and just testing the water. So that's it for the video, guys. Please let me know what you guys think. Comment. Let me know what you guys are or what your Broly lists are looking like. So without further ado, Team TPA will be signing out.